6 here on Talkback KSYL. I'm Stephen Maxwell along with Nathan Martin for, we're going to call it Open Line Thursday. Do we have one? Did we have guests?
I didn't see a single one.
Just me and you blabbering on for an hour and a half. Something we like to do. Good morning.
Hey, man, how are you?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Nathan's making me run the board today, and I was hoping to be a little lazy on the other side, but you do what you got to do. Not everyone can be a hero, but I tried.
You didn't even wear your cape today.
I didn't. I wore like a light jacket because the weather out there is nice and perfect this morning. So if you're out and about, get ready for some good weather. Let's hope we can get up into the high 70s today and lower in the 50s. High 50s or low 60s, something like that.
That's kind of lovely weather, isn't it?
It is. It's very nice. Very windy. And that's some of the reason we've been seeing some of those burn bans across the area. Some of the strongest wind I've seen here in quite some time yesterday.
Yes, not even March kite flying weather yet.
I know. So we don't fly your kites over Bulow, though. That's what I'm hearing. I saw that posted today too. Nice weather. Looks like we're hopefully getting into some of that spring.
Now, hold on.
Field.
You're talking about something I don't know if I'm aware of. Don't fly your kites over Butte.
One of the Pineville Facebook accounts might have been police or city said don't fly the kite over Bulow.
Oh, probably because of the airplanes.
And that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's fair. So, speaking of Pineville, they revealed their historical marker over at Huey P. Long Hospital, or what was formerly known as Huey P. Long Hospital, right there off Main Street. Nathan was there. He was our top-notch reporter getting video on the scene. And if you want to watch kind of some of the stuff that happened, you can go to my Facebook page, Stephen Maxwell TV, and see that. But I'm sure it was a lot of good stuff, Nathan. Historical part of Sinmar.
Yeah, you did a great job of taking the little bit that I sent you and put together a really nice package. It was a great event. There was lamenting over the fact that the building can't be saved, but many of the great parts of the building have been preserved, including the massive doors. They have been stored. I think LSU Shreveport has them in storage, and other components of the building that are the major architectural components have been preserved for hopefully display at another time. But it's a really nice display. The historical markers, the word I was looking for. It's two-sided. It takes a while to read both sides, and it gives the history of how this was the centerpiece of Governor Huey P. Long's attempt to provide health care throughout the state, which if you think about it, I think it ended up being 7 different hospitals all across the state, and this was the main central hub. And that's a really innovative idea for the state to provide charity health care for people. It was founded in 1937 and opened its doors in 1937. I have an interesting connection there. My dad was born in that hospital in 1940, and he has often said he took his first breath in Pineville, he'll take his last breath in Pineville. And I'm telling him, don't be in a hurry. So
take your time.
Take your time. But it was really a nice event. Michael Wynn did a great job of speaking, kind of encapsulating the history. Mayor Joe Bishop spoke as well. Interesting little connection there. State Representative Mike Johnson was asked to share some reflections. He grew up, he said, in downtown Pineville, and he said he rode his bicycle up and down the streets of Hospital Boulevard thousands of times. And then there was a really humorous anecdote when they had asked Helen Moore, who worked at the hospital for decades, to be a part of the unveiling. And so as Representative Johnson was speaking, people know, if you know Helen Moore, you know she's Mrs. Democrat. There's no doubt about where her loyalties stand. And of course, Representative Johnson, Mr. Republican. And he made a funny comment that he had been treated in the hospital a few times, but he was so glad that he was never treated by Helen Moore because he might not would have survived his stay. And everybody had a nice chuckle. It was just a really humorous bipartisan, comment, and
it's a very fun thing to do.
Yeah, it was great. It was a great event, and had good represent. Most of the city council was there. Downtown Development District members were there. If I recall, I think they paid for half of the historical marker, and the city paid for half of it. And it's a great way to memorialize that really significant portion of. Or significant part of our history. One of them, I forget who, it may have been Michael Wynn, told the anecdotal story. Well, he said it's a true story that Governor Huey P. Long was coming through Pineville in the 1930s. He was chauffeured. His driver got pulled over for speeding by a Pineville police officer and got a ticket. And so Governor Long contacted the Pineville mayor. I don't know, he didn't say who it was at the time. Contacted the Pineville mayor and said, I'm building a new bridge across the Red River for 165. if you don't dismiss this ticket, that bridge is going to be 8 miles north of Pineville, and you'll never see another car through here again. And apparently the ticket got dismissed and the bridge was built right there. Now, I had always heard that the bridge was going to be into downtown, and then that's why it went north of town. But this story makes a lot more sense, because where the OK Island Bridge was built really didn't penalize Pineville. It helped Kingsville, of course. But funny stories. And I do think, the Kingfish, Huey P. was definitely a man of the people. He definitely wanted to provide populist opportunities. And who knew that healthcare would be such a significant part of our lives today?
He was something for sure. And I like what our historian Michael Wynn said during his speech. He said that history is about people.
Yeah.
And you can't think of anything more about people than Huey P. Long Hospital that served brought so many people into this world in our community. That was a very, very pertinent thing to say, and it was fantastic. And just imagine that. You see all the comments about the sentiment behind the hospital, and we did the story a couple of weeks ago about them possibly tearing it down because it's become so dilapidated. People are just kind of sad. And I don't know if upset is the right word, but just kind of disappointed because they've had memories there. A lot of them probably not good, but memories, and the good ones like births and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I remember covering it at my previous employer whenever Jindal shut them down. It was a big deal. I had to cover that one, and I was a brand new budding reporter in college, and I had no idea what any of this meant.
Right.
And so you have to kind of figure it out. And like, what is this budget stuff, and what's private versus public? It's very interesting. You can watch that video on Stephen Maxwell TV on Facebook and our social media pages.
Other couple of interesting comments that were made about or during the presentation included the number of first breaths that were taken. I think they had a record. It was the most births in Rapides Parish, even to this day, cumulatively.
Awesome.
I don't know if that note was on the marker, but the comment about the most births was there. They also made the comment, actually, Daryl Basco, who's the chief operating officer, has spoken briefly to introduce the dignitaries. And he made a comment that when he was police chief and in his years as a patrol officer, they always knew that if someone was shot, you wanted to take them to Huey P. At the time, now this would have been 20 years ago, because at the time, Huey P. had trauma surgeons rotating in from New Orleans. So they had the absolute very best trauma surgeons there, even above what Cabrini and Rapides were providing at the time. So if you were shot, you wanted to go to Huey P. I was treated there a few times. My wife received good treatment there. It's definitely a place of memories and nostalgia for a lot of people, and I think the historical marker can help preserve that and give us something to tell our grandkids about.
If you have your favorite story, want to talk about something else, 318-442-8255 is the number if you want to get on and talk to us about what's going on. Another interesting story in Central Louisiana. This is from the Rapides Parish Journal. Who runs that, by the way? Do you know? Jim Butler.
Well, he's one of the regular writers, but the guy that I don't know the guy's name. I can probably do it, I think, but he actually has these journals in 5 or 6 or 8 different parishes.
So Jim writes them.
Jim writes a lot of it. I don't think he's the only source, but he's probably the primary writer.
All right, so the England Authority at its meeting today at 4 o'clock is going to be hearing any opposition to creating a sub-district to provide for a multi-billion-dollar data center near Boyce. And of course, if you listen to Talkback religiously, like many of you do, we broke that story, Matt Ritchie did, talking about the big, expensive piece of land that was bought in Boyce for that data center. We have a full background on that. Basically, how much was it per acre?
It was $40,000 an acre.
$40,000 an acre.
Crazy number.
Tens of millions of dollars. That property, and a AI data center company is looking at setting up shop in Boyce. So that starts at 4 o'clock today. That's at the England Air Park, their big building by NSU. Individual comment is limited to 3 minutes. The meeting agenda includes the authority's intent to vote on the matter after the hearing. And we've seen across Louisiana and other parts of the country where data centers have become a controversial topic. Do people want them in their communities? A lot of people for it say it's going to be a huge economic boost for the area. I know it's been really touted in the Monroe area where they're building theirs, right, Richland?
That's right.
There. I saw in Shreveport when they were looking at building one over there. There was a lot of people upset about the idea of it. This company is Applied Digital, Dallas-based developer. They're not really saying much. I did reach out to them. They said they do not want to comment on this project at this time, but it looks like that property was bought, and I'd say that's a good indicator that something's going to happen.
A lot of folks were concerned when NVIDIA pulled out as an investor in that organization, but they don't seem to be slowing down at all. And I think that there really doesn't seem to be hasn't seemed to have been much public opposition. I mean, even on the show, we haven't heard people calling in, and that's where you would typically hear the grassroots efforts. So,
I've seen some on Facebook, some of the comments.
Yeah. Are they more about like water and electric bills and that kind of stuff? Is that what you think people are mostly complaining about?
Yeah, I think so. And we've been seeing some trepidation behind big business like that moving into the area. We kind of see the carbon capture as well. So I think some people are just a little hesitant.
I have heard through the grapevine that Cleco is applying to build a new plant, power generation plant. So again, that's unconfirmed, but that would be a good thing. I would think that would be a good thing for the resiliency of electrical services in Central Louisiana.
And who's going to buy Cleco? It's going to be a big discussion too. We hear a lot of rumors. I've heard the same rumor from a number of different people, but I'm going to shut up and not say that and start anything. So I don't know y'all hate it when we do that. All right, we're going to take a break. More coming up on Talkback. We're hoping to get the mayor of Pineville, Joe Bishop, to talk about this big grant happening in Pineville. We'll discuss that here in just a bit.
Find the clinics with 18 providers and 3 locations.
You texted him to call in?
Yeah, talk about that grant.
Well,
I'm sure
cool.
you know about it too.
I know a little bit about it. I know what I read on Facebook about it.
What is it again?
It's called the Build Grant, and it's a $750,000 grant. I believe it's more of a planning grant. They're wanting to take the Shamrock Street through the heart of the grounds and tie back into Rainbow, and then build a bridge across Spanish Bayou. Both of those would be astronomical in opening up development there. It wouldn't be a winding road. No, I was going.
Do you think he has a chance of losing?
I think his chance of winning is greater than 70%.
Yeah.
It's going to take an anomaly for something to happen.
So I press Q and press the button. Is that saying?
Yeah.
Good morning. It's Talkback.
Good morning, it's Joe Bishop.
Hey, I'm going to keep you on hold, and we're about to go right back on.
Yeah, that's good, buddy.
Thanks for calling, Mayor.
Yes, sir, thank you.
You can either leave him as is, or because he can hear, or you can put him on hold. Either way.
We're about to go on.
Yeah. My wife's stepmother passed away in McAllen, Texas, so I'm headed to there next week. They put the funeral off till next Saturday, so we're going to leave next Thursday, but I'll be here for the show. Yeah. And then I've got a funeral today. That's why I'm in my monkey suit.
Life of a pastor.
Say again?
Life of a pastor.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, welcome back to Talkback. Stephen Maxwell here along with Nathan Martin. And joining us on the phone this morning is Pineville Mayor Joe Bishop. Good morning. Oh, pretty good. I know you're staying busy. Had that big marker reveal yesterday. Pretty cool. But another thing you guys are talking about is a $750,000 federal grant called the Build Fund. That's going to help redevelop that Central Louisiana hospital area. Tell us about that and what that could mean for the area. And I got a currently city councilman sitting across from me, and we were talking about it. He goes, "This could be pretty huge for that area. It could be a big game changer." And there's so much potential, in that Main Street corridor and the Huey property and the Central State property. I drive in there and see how much has come just the past couple of years that I've been involved in Central Louisiana. I'm sure you have to feel really good about what's happening too. It's a lot of good stuff.
Yes, yes, sir. Which is a multi-story, huge facility, and then that's going to be the corporate headquarters. Then after that, he'll be building an actual residential care facility. And this boulevard that you're talking about extending would come out near that road that they're building right in front of Whiteout Stop, right? Well, and I spoke with another developer. We all know, I won't hide his name, Matt Ritchie. He said that would be transformative for that area. And he made a comparison to Versailles Boulevard in Alexandria, that type of vision that it takes to create that. It doesn't always happen overnight, but he was giving huge kudos to your administration, and I totally agree. I think this is the kind of literally, I hate to double use the word, but transformative thought processes that will bring untold types of development into that, basically a blank canvas for us to build something new.
I don't want you to have to take off the state with this answer, but I'm going to try and say it the most decent way possible. I know when you're trying to redevelop the Central State property, you're not going through some red tape. You're going through mountains of red tape to get things happening. How does that work with you guys trying to plan and have realistic expectations? I know we've talked about this a lot with the story we did a couple of weeks ago, but what do you see happening with that Central State Hospital ground, the Huey P grounds? What are some of the different things you'd like to see there?
Yeah, that. I think you're definitely onto someone with that idea of the patio homes. We have more and more people that they don't want to live in a duplex. They'd like to have their own yard, but they don't want to have a big yard that they have to mow. And the success of that backside of Sweetwater Rim proves if a house goes for sale, I think that's Lakeland Street. If a house goes for sale there, it's sold within days because people really like that small yard, big home concept, or a medium-sized home on a postage card stamp lot. And there are places in Pineville where those would be a great fit. So I hope we can get more development like that. And with interest rates finally dropping below 6, maybe there'll be a little more movement in that area. Mm-hmm.
Mayor Joe Bishop, thank you so much for coming on impromptu. We appreciate it, and good luck with everything. All right, thank you, Mayor. Thank you so much. Yes, sir.
Bye-bye.
All right, coming up, LSUA making big moves on the court. We'll discuss that here in just a bit. We got the expert across the table. Stick around.
Dadgummit, I left the logo up the whole time.
I was wondering, do we have the right mic on?
I think so. That one's muted, right?
Mine's muted.
Yeah, you're supposed to be muted. Yeah, I'm sitting over here.
I hope you know about the LSUA.
Oh, I do. I didn't watch the game. I couldn't do the game last night. First home game I couldn't do. Well, it was the second home game I couldn't do the season. Like I told them, scheduled a game on Wednesday night. I kind of got obligations, but that was not there. That was a league decision.
Who does it? If you don't know.
A guy named Caleb. He's a sports information director. I can't think of his last name. A big change. You see where Beth Palmer's going to LCU from LSUA? That's a big change. Dr. Mark Johnson's hired her as a vice president for something. She was vice chancellor at LSUA, but LCU was her alma mater, so she's going home to do. Yeah, it's a bigger role, but it'll be a good role for her. It's a big feather in LCU's cap.
What is it again? She's in?
Let me find it. It's vice president of something.
Hopefully, vice president of student acquisition.
Institutional advancement.
I'm going to ask you about Calvin team.
Oh, thank you a lot. I appreciate that.
All right, welcome back. Welcome back to Talkback. Here on your Thursday morning, we're blabbering off the air, and sometimes it's better conversation. Right? It is 7:41 here on February 26th on a Thursday. Give us a call, 318-442-8255, and it's a good Thursday morning for the LSUA Generals men's basketball team as they move on to a big game over at the Rapides Parish Coliseum. We got the man who knows it, Nathan Martin. So what's going on with them?
Well, it was a huge win last night for the men. Unfortunately, the ladies lost down in New Orleans against Xavier. They clawed their way back in, just did a great job of getting back into the game. They were trailing at the end of the first quarter. They won the second and third quarters, but the wheels just kind of fell off in the fourth quarter. They were outscored by about 10 points, and so they will end up the season in 5th place in tournament, and then they get disqualified. Last night was the first round of tournament play. On the men's side, though, man, last night was quite the performance as they hosted Jarvis Christian. It was number 2 versus number 7. Jarvis had to travel over from Texas, and it was an 83-69 victory. I didn't get to do the game last night, the play-by-play, which I typically do for all of the home games, because when the Red River Athletic Conference scheduled the game on a Wednesday night, I kind of have another obligation on Wednesday nights. But it was really, LSU dominated from the get-go, 37-24 at the half. And then 83-69 was the final score. So that means they'll advance to the Final Four, essentially, is what will take place. Let me think if that's right. Yeah, so there will be 2 games on Saturday, and then the championship will be on Sunday. And that's going to be for both the men's and the women's side. Unfortunately, LSU Generals, the ladies team, won't advance to the Final Four, but the brackets are set. I don't know exactly what time LSUA is playing. I'll try to find that out. But they're going to be all the games, and this is really interesting to me. For whatever reason, the Red River Athletic Conference has really liked coming to Alexandria, the Laborde Earls Coliseum. Mm-hmm. So that's where the tournament will be. And actually, I'm looking here. They're playing 5:30 at the Laborde Earls Coliseum. That's the third game of the day, and they'll be taking on number 3 seed Xavier University. So 2 seed versus 3 seed will be a great contest, and then the championship game will be held on Sunday. LSUS is the number 1 seed, and LSUS is the only team that's beat LSUA twice this year. So I can tell you that the Generals are gunning for revenge. They want to advance to that final and then see if they can take out the Pilots of LSU Shreveport.
This is NAIA.
NAIA, that's right.
I don't know that Xavier was NAIA.
They transferred over a few years ago. They used to be part of the Gulf Coast Athletic Conference, and then LCE played them basketball for years. Okay. And then when LC took on football, they left the Gulf Coast Athletic Conference and went somewhere else. I forget, to the Division III. And then when they went back to NAIA, we were in the Red River. Red River stretches basically from Louisiana to New Mexico. And so to me, it would make more geographical sense to have the tournament in the Dallas area, because that's kind of more the central area for where all the teams come from. But the hospitality of Central Louisiana has captured the heart of the Red River Athletic Conference, and the work crew that LSUA puts on a good show. They got good people, good announcing, good stats, the good support personnel, and apparently they like their play-by-play announcers. So I don't
know about him.
I get contracted by the Red River Athletic Conference, not by LSUA, to do the tournament.
That's cool. I think it'd be a lot of fun. LSUA, LSUS ended up in the championship.
Wouldn't that be
possible?
Great? Yeah.
I might even show up for that one.
That's going to be Sunday afternoon, probably around 4:30.
4:30. Okay, that'd be perfect.
Yeah,
check it out. And it's important to support your local teams. Mm-hmm. And they're doing some great things. Our local universities are on the up and up, athletics and academics. So we love to see it, and go out and support it. And if you can't make it, listen to Nathan some more.
Yeah, go to LSUAGenerals.com, and you can watch the feed and listen to my attempts to describe what's happening before your very eyes.
I mean, exciting stuff, sports locally and the sports world otherwise. This is like the biggest lull possible. Football's ended. Baseball hasn't started. So when I go to ESPN, when I'm at the gym, they have ESPN on, which I generally don't watch. And all they talk about is the NBA. Are you a big NBA guy?
No, I'm not. I'll take college basketball over NBA any day.
Sure.
Any day.
So, exciting stuff for LSUA. Reminder here, the North Rapids Business and Industry Alliance, they have their meetings at LCU every month over in Pineville.
In the Granbury Conference
Center. Yes. We have a reminder for you. Matt Ritchie, our very own Matt Ritchie, will be the guest speaker at their meeting on Monday at 11:30 at LCU. So put that on your calendars. He always has a lot of good things to say, a lot of big projects they're going to talk about. And you can hear from a lot of your local leaders. They have everybody there who's somebody right in North Rapids, giving updates on their municipalities and other things going on. And they usually have a nice meal. Mm-hmm. Usually like red beans and rice, or fried chicken or something. So
smothered pork chop, something.
So, not that anybody cares, but I kind of got the reason I'm here today on this radio station is because of RPA. And Mike Johnson likes to say he took credit for it, and he did. Because we had to cover news for a class that I didn't want to take. Al made me take it. I was like, dude, I'll never be a TV news reporter. There's no way. There's no way I'm doing that. I want to do what Nathan does on the side. I want to do sports play-by-play. And then State Treasurer John Kennedy, who's now U.S. Senator, was speaking at the NARBIA meeting, and NARBIA was kind of brand new at that point. Mike put that on, and I covered the story. Local television station saw it, hired me on, and now I thank NARBIA every day for having State Treasurer John Kennedy there.
I really enjoy those meetings, and they're learning, no doubt. Representative Johnson brings in some great speakers. The round table is great. And even though the group has grown to typically well over 100, he always goes around and let anyone share that they have an upcoming event. And you just don't see that, especially as large as that group. You would think, well, we have to let this go by the wayside. But he's made it grassroots, and he always calls on the various leaders of. I mean, he's so quick to recognize whether it's the England Authority or the Port Authority, or the university presidents come, and so great job calling on Deborah Randolph at the chamber. Just really makes that meeting engaging, and the food's well. It's like I think it's $15 if you're not a member, and I don't remember if you join, you pay the whole yearly fee. It ends up being less than that, but you're going to pay that much for a fast food meal with if you supersize it, especially.
Yeah.
Dude, I had the best hamburger yesterday that I've had in a long time at College Grocery on Military Highway.
College
It
Grocery.
used to be Jack's. You remember
Oh,
Jack's? Yeah.
Okay.
So I
Did
was.
they just change? Because they were Jacks like a couple months
Well,
ago.
maybe they're Jack's. I don't know. It is Jack's. You're right. Okay, my bad.
You might be right. I don't know.
I don't remember now. But nevertheless, I popped in real quick, and I hadn't had a burger there. I don't know. It's been ages. And so I walked in, and they actually have plate lunches there. They had smothered chicken and all the sides and fixings, and they had some fried foods. And I said, "You got burgers?" "Yeah, just take me a minute." And I got it with everything on it. It had the square bun, if you remember those, and that was that squishy bread. Oh my goodness! And I have not had that good of a burger in a long time.
Gotta check it out. Love me a good cheeseburger. And of course, I'm ready for the hot weather, so you can go over to Palmetto's across the street.
That's
there.
right.
That little area, man. It's just so cool to see that area of Pineville start to blossom.
Man, it's so
When I was in
nice.
college there,
It was dead, right?
it was dead.
Yeah.
And really, Alexandria too, downtown there, when I was starting out here in Central Louisiana in 2011, dead.
As I drove, so I attended the Downtown Development District meeting at noon. I had a full day of meetings. At 11 o'clock, I was with Mayor Bishop at the Rapides Area Planning Commission. At 12, we had the Downtown Development District. And at 1, we had the unveiling of the historical marker. But driving from City Hall to Hospital Boulevard, just slowly thinking, there's hardly a vacant building.
No.
Hardly.
I will go out of my way sometimes just to drive down Main Street instead of take something else.
And it's
I like the
attractive.
scenery.
My wife turned me on to that last year. When she works at the hospital, she volunteers at Rapides, or anytime she's in Alexandria, she'd come down Main Street, and I'd be like, "It's faster to go the expressway." She goes, "Yeah, but it's so much more enjoyable."
That's what I'm saying.
And so I started doing that, and that's my regular route now. It really is an enjoyable ride, and even the homeowners. There's a couple homes that could use a little help, and maybe
We'll get there.
yeah, we will absolutely.
Yeah.
And downtown Alexandria, off the chain. It's been the last 10 years or so. They've really, really ramped things up.
And those things don't happen overnight.
No,
It takes
they
time,
don't.
and it's cool to see how it's matured over the past couple of years. Coming up, if you were hoping John Bell Edwards or Bobby Jindal would be governor again, you might be out of luck or happy. Who knows? We'll discuss that in the legislature and more legislative news that will affect us here locally, and take your calls coming up after the break.
Talkback sponsored by the clinic.
Dude, you're doing such a great job.
I just try to keep teases, that's all.
Well, that's great. I always forget to do that unless I know something on the calendar. I don't think of that. I'm so off the seat of my pants on everything. You're doing a great job.
There's just so much content. Some days it's.
No, you're absolutely right.
And a future that honors
We got 2 calls.
being be part of Louisiana.
Well, Dave hadn't called yet, so
Renewables.com and find out how we're putting
Hi, thanks for taking my call.
1 year only.
I don't think he knows how to say it any other way.
Here is giving a and a new date because that Tuesday falls on Valentine's weekend.
You gonna make a non-committal bet? Who's gonna be the first to call me?
I was going to say Dave, but I did that with Trish the other day, and it wasn't Dave. So,
One of you
I'm gonna go with
you've always loved.
Dave.
On a new side.
well, it's either going to be Dave or it's going to be the finance guy that doesn't like me. Well, no, not Brad. The guy that's always talking about monetary policy and the Federal Reserve, and
No.
he's such a sourpuss.
Our
The one who talked about the cameras was telling the Democrats to leave the store that day. Were you here with me with that?
oh yeah,
Yeah, that guy.
that guy.
2026 is in full swing. And
What about our cynical guy? I haven't heard him in a month.
No, you're right.
last year, your
So we got to stir him up.
allowed us
I met him the other day.
You told me that. You showed me a picture at the gym.
Yeah, I won't tell you them on air because you've already been one.
No, I get it. You want half of a cookie? You sure? This is
I
from,
do, but I gotta get my
you've been at home,
stomach under control, man.
you've been home eating all the stuff, huh?
No, I just not to be TMI. I just can't. I got sick bad GERD and gallbladder
I
stuff.
hate to hear that.
So
At Kramer's,
I can't eat anything.
we understand the importance of celebrating.
This is a couple days old. Somebody gave it to me. They bought it from Little Cakes.
People are alive. No
Oh, wow.
to funerals.
I know their cookies look like that.
We will assist you step by step in creating a meaningful service.
Rich.
Your loved ones.
Puts a little
lives.
on the
Staff
hard side.
and Funeral home, be your personal guide.
A message from Air Conditioning and Heating.
I forgot where I had it. It was on the back seat of my car for 2 days. I had another story I was going to tell you.
No trouble. 657.
Crime is already skyrocketing.
If I put the phone thing up and don't press the red button, it's not on, right?
Yeah.
The financial.
As long as you don't, yeah.
Emotional weight of pulling that trigger. There is new technology.
Regular callers know when you push that button, they hear. Ksh.
Why?
Have you ever called in and heard that? That tells you that the button's been pushed.
Fires, tear gas, pepper spray, kinetic rounds. It is designed to stop an attacker for up to 40 minutes. That gives you time to escape. That gives you time to get help without deadly consequences. Now remember, it fires at 400 feet per second, and it has serious stopping power enough to shut down a threat very fast without the legal, moral complexity of
Yeah, Iowa Police Department.
force. And
Towards the no kites post.
Yeah, somebody.
Oh, over the weekend, we had individuals flying kites that became entangled in a main transmission line. With an airport in the area and nearby business, these conditions can cause serious concerns for the public and aircraft. So they recommend the recreational area behind Beulah Lake or the Ward 9 Sportsplex.
Ward 9 would be a good spot.
Would be.
All right, welcome back to Talkback. We're going to go to your calls real quick. Good morning. You are on Thursday Talkback.
Go ahead, caller.
Twice.
You there, caller?
You've been waiting. I hate to hang up on you.
We hear something.
All right.
You got the red button push, right?
Try it again, I guess. I don't even know if I'm hanging up on it. You know?
If you hit drop and then that one it'll call.
All right. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
You do have it queued up
Oh,
here,
I'm
right?
sorry. See, I didn't press the button. It's not your fault. That's my fault.
Okay.
Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Really? See, years ago it was called the Colfax riots, and then it got changed to the Colfax massacre because that's a more accurate representation from what I understand. I wanted to go to that. It was supposed to be tonight on Thursday, but Michael Wynn told me that the author's schedule didn't allow him to be there on Thursday, so he had to do it on Wednesday night. And I asked him, told me it was by Zoom, so I encouraged him to record it because Zoom has that capability to release later. I don't know if he did. So you say that I didn't know about the Supreme Court decision. Can you tell us a little bit more about that? Hmm. Well, that is intriguing. So got off on a technicality, basically what you're saying. Hmm. Yeah, that's a great point.
Well, thank you so much for calling in. We got to go for the top of the hour break. We'll have more of your calls coming up here in just a little bit here on Talkback. And we'll get to some of the state legislature, some of the things we can expect. And can we see a former governor be a governor again? We'll discuss that and more coming up here on Talkback.
So a commenter said that they couldn't hear Mayor Bishop. So I don't know. You and I were hearing him fine, so I'm assuming he was
On
going
the
to.
air?
Yeah. Oh, no, on Facebook.
Oh.
Well, they commented on Facebook. I don't know. I'm going to try to find out. I know that person that wrote it.
Are we?
AM 970, FM 4.9, KSYL, and KRRB 100.3.
Oh, dude, we have the. Hey.
Hello.
It's getting our computer audio, not the program. I think.
Well, our mics are supposed to be dead during this part.
I can tell the levels aren't picking up. The program is picking us up.
Oh, goodness. Well, this mic is. Let me see here. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, just switch your
I got it.
around.
Claim the majority of the 10 people who were on the speedboat have known histories of criminal and violent activity. Hillary and Bill Clinton are set to reveal their dealings with the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein in
Okay. That didn't work either. I don't know what it is.
Late in life. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
North Korea is hinting it's interested in improving ties with the U.S. Alex Jensen reports from Seoul.
Peaceful coexistence or eternal confrontation? Those are the two options presented to the U.S. by North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, although he's sidelined American ally South Korea by restating his country's hostility towards Seoul.
This is CBS News.
You still got it, but your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight flu, pneumococcal pneumonia, RSV, and COVID-19. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Carpal tunnel syndrome, heart failure that doesn't improve with common medicines. These are some signs and symptoms associated with ATTR-CM, or the cardiomyopathy of ATTR amyloidosis, a serious heart condition with symptoms that get worse over time. Amvuttra, vutrisiran, is a prescription medicine given by a healthcare provider that treats ATTR-CM in adults to reduce heart-related death, hospital stays, and urgent visits. In a clinical study, Amvuttra was proven to help people live longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
Red ink is flowing at the company that owns Jeep, Chrysler, Ram, and Dodge.
Stellantis losing $26.3 billion in 2025. Like Ford and GM, the company putting the big cost of changing EV plans into 1 year. But Stellantis also saw a big drop in sales. This means workers will forego profit-sharing checks for the first time in 15 years. Stellantis says it did see a better second half and forecasts improvement for 2026. Jeff Gilbert, CBS News, Detroit.
More accolades for the guy who scored the overtime goal in Team USA Hockey's gold-winning game at the Winter Olympics.
Devils fans, let's hear it for number 86, Jack Hughes.
Hughes got a hero's welcome on the ice in New Jersey. The Devils drafted Hughes as their first overall pick in 2019. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
Louisiana Radio Network, I'm Colleen Crane. A West Monroe state senator is proposing a constitutional amendment that he says would restore accountability for judges and district attorneys who failed to prevent violent crime. Senator Jay Morris's bill would create a mechanism for removal of a judge or district attorney upon the recommendation of the governor.
Then the Senate may remove that DA or judge from office after a trial, similar to an impeachment trial, upon a 2/3 vote.
The race for the U.S. Senate seat currently held by Bill Cassidy is in full swing. Congresswoman Julia Letlow entered the race after President Trump endorsed her. She has now become the target of ads accusing her of being a liberal. ULM political science professor Pearson Cross.
Women are seen generally in office as a bit softer than men, so she's got to come back hard and prove that she's not, quote-unquote, liberal Letlow, but she's, in fact, tough, conservative, Trump-endorsed Julia Letlow.
LRN. A survey of nearly 2,800 parents and caregivers finds that child care costs more than $10,000 per year per child.
Madeline Carr-Spatson with the Louisiana Policy Institute for Children says too many families are paying an unsustainable price just to stay employed.
Parents struggle with the cost of child care, and they struggle to find reliable child care arrangements that fit their specific needs.
Batson says government assistance is available, but thousands of eligible families are unable to obtain it.
It can be multiple years that they're waiting to get access to these publicly funded programs.
Funding for child care will be a topic during the upcoming legislative session as budget discussions get underway next week. I'm Jeff Palermo.
They call it the Super Bowl of Rodeos, and it's coming to the Caesars Superdome in April. This event in New Orleans is the first time they've held the Hondo Rodeo Fest outside of Arizona. Hondo CEO James Tarwick says they chose Louisiana because the state has some of the best rodeo competitors in the U.S.
There's more world champions that come from the state of Louisiana than Wyoming.
LRN.
This is Dr. Jonathan Hunter with the clinics. We provide primary, family, and chronic care along with gastroenterology, podiatry with on-site lab and x-ray services. I'm pleased to welcome family physician Dr. Noah Miller to our team. We are currently accepting new patients and same-day appointments are available. If you're admitted into the hospital, our doctors will see you there as well. Most insurance and Medicare are accepted. The clinic's on North Bolton, 445-9823, and online at theclinics.us.
Good morning. Starting out cloudy on our Thursday, gradually becoming mostly sunny. Afternoon highs near 78 degrees, and it's going to be another windy day with winds gusting as high as 20. They'll be out of the south, and we could see a late afternoon or early evening shower thunderstorm. 50% chance of some storms overnight tonight, down to 58, and then partly sunny on Friday with the high 77. From the Cenla Broadcasting Weather Center, I'm Dave Gratian.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics. With 18 providers and 3 locations, someone can see you today.
It's Talkback, Central Louisiana's longest-running talk show. Whether it's the guests or the callers, Talkback is where Central Louisiana begins its conversation.
Good morning. Welcome to hour number 2 of Talkback here on your Thursday, February 26th. It is 8:08. I'm Stephen Maxwell along with Nathan Martin. Good morning again.
Good morning, and good morning. I guess we all explain why I'm here on Thursday, huh?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm the Thursday guy now.
You are the Thursday guy.
So
You're the Tuesday and Thursday.
Yeah, Al just reached out and said, I think it may be short term, we'll see, but heavy schedule at LCU, and asked me to pick up Thursdays if I wouldn't mind, so I'm happy to do it, happy to support. Gosh, if I get to be, any day I get to be in the studio with Stephen Maxwell, like, he's one of my heroes.
Okay.
So,
we don't get to know your heroes, you'll always be disappointed.
I haven't yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess Al's just kind of getting old and...
Oh, you're going to say it like that, huh?
Just can't keep up. I understand,
You
No,
guys.
I'm kidding. I'm glad he's getting a break. He's always worked way too hard in his life, and I'm glad he's taking time for himself, too. That's a good thing for him, and he's busy with LCU. They got a lot of stuff going on. I mean, he's teaching like a class or two, I'm assuming. So, he does a good job. We love him, and we'll miss him until Friday.
Until tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's not like he's gone forever. I'm not wearing my black funeral suit for Al, I promise.
Yeah.
I have another funeral to do this morning, so I wouldn't have time to go home and change in between. So,
I'm sure that's an interesting thing. Do you remember like the first funeral you preached?
I was terrified.
Yeah, I could imagine. Yeah.
Well, most of them, I still get pretty nervous, but
do you get nervous on Sunday mornings before you go up?
Not as much as I used to, because I know my material and I know my people. And so there's a comfort level there that I feel like I'm just talking to my family. But it's really crazy. I remember my first time moderating I was elected vice president of the Louisiana Municipal Association, my first time moderating a district meeting. There were about the same number, maybe a little fewer than at my church service, and I was terrified because it was a whole different group. It wasn't my normal, customary group. So, yeah. And really, I think most times you see people speaking many times, unless that's just something they do every single day, many times they're more nervous than they let on.
I can imagine. I mean, I was listening to something where Obama was on one of those podcasts, former president of the United States, and he says he still gets kind of jitters and nervous before he goes up and speaks somewhere. So I guess that's a completely normal thing.
And my dad says he still does after 60-plus years of ministry, that he gets nervous. I think it's a nervous excitement for me, and maybe for him, I don't know. But he's preaching for us coming up. This is kind of a historic event for us at our church. We're celebrating 50 years. I'm not going to turn this into promotion day, but on March the 9th, 1976 was the first service Christian Challenge ever had. Dad obviously preached it. I was 10 years old. And so March the 9th, 2026 will mark the 50-year anniversary. Well, Sunday falls on March the 8th. So he will be preaching on March the 8th, which is the final day of the 50th year, which means he will have preached on the first day and on the final day of the 50th year bookends. And so
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Y'all aren't Baptists, right?
Almost.
Okay, so you didn't argue about the drapes or the curtains or anything.
We haven't had that argument.
Good.
No, we're very blessed. We actually just repainted part of the walls, and nobody got mad about it.
You didn't have to open Christian Challenge too. In a community that I was in, I'm not trying to make fun of things. There's a community that I was in, very small. They had a church.
Occupy number 1.
How'd you know that?
Occupy number 2.
How'd you know that?
It's famous. They're famous, dude.
That's very picking, though. I could say that I'm from Fairview. All right, let's go to the phone lines. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for taking my call. I actually called in when y'all were talking about funerals, trying to get the subject matter off of death. But I'm a member of a church that split probably 30 years ago, 35 years ago. And there's only one guy still in the church that knows why they split, and no one will tell us. We've never been able to figure that out. Yeah, but anyways, I was calling while, I don't know what it was. It can't be something they were proud of, I would think, just by deduction, or they would say. But anyways, I was calling because I heard that there were 3 different Democrat responses to the State of the Union address, and one of them was all in Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering if either of y'all, since y'all have a grasp of the Spanish language better than mine, if either of y'all were able to listen to that and knew what was said, because there's a growing movement. Bad Bunny, or whatever his name is, alluded to it in his halftime show of La Raza, the race, of thinking that that Texas and New Mexico and Arizona and California and Nevada belong to Mexico. They forget that, you know, we paid cash for that after we didn't have to pay cash. But anyways, and so I was wondering if y'all heard any about what was said during that all-Spanish broadcast.
So I didn't even know what was going on. Yeah.
All I can say is you and I listened to the same podcast because this morning I heard that same piece of news from Mr. Wright. And that was the first I had ever heard that there was a Spanish podcast. But so I know I didn't listen to it.
Nathan, do you know any like Hispanic groups that would have like a clamoring for taking over U.S. states and making it Hispanic culture?
Not personally. No, I mean, I know a lot of folks. I don't know of any personal.
They're pretty.
There may be some out in Los Angeles or, you know, some radicals someplace. But
could be. No.
None of the.
Well, the main group is called La Raza.
Yeah.
They've been active for over a decade.
And that just means the race. That's what La Raza means.
The race, right.
Race.
I mean,
that's what they call themselves.
My Hispanic counterparts, they don't even like half the Hispanic countries. So I don't even know.
So I got to tell you a funny joke. Living in Mexico, I had a guy. I was in South Mexico, and he was from North Mexico. He was from the state of Tamaulipas. And one day we were talking. He told me how angry he was at Santa Anna, the general who, you know, defeated Texas and Alamo, but eventually lost the war. And I said, so I was very tentative. Like, why? So why are you angry? He said, yeah, well, he sold Texas and New Mexico to the United States. Now I'm nervous, right? He's like, I said, okay, well, I guess I can understand. He goes, no, you don't understand. Why didn't he sell Tamaulipas too? Yep. Then I would have been an American. And that was his, and that was an honest assessment that he felt. This was in 1987, 88. But it was a kind of like a joke that they saw that be an advantage for Texas, New Mexico, and whatever other parts were sold because they got to have.
It's actually a very popular view. Yeah, especially in the all the northern districts right at the Texas line, because they see, I mean, several cities straddle the line, and they see the prosperity on the other side, and why they don't just, well, I know why they don't have a lot of freedom, but I know enough about the Latino culture because I have close family members from Cuba and from Mexico, a good friend from Mexico, and a family member from Venezuela, to know that there's some feuds between the groups, and don't ever call one the wrong one. You never call them anything unless you know exactly who they belong to, because you will offend people. Well, and so I don't.
There's pride, absolutely. If you're from El Salvador, you don't want to be called a Guatemalan. You know, I mean, it's just like if you're from Louisiana, you don't want to be called an Arkansan.
When I'm fighting with my wife, I tell her the arepas from Colombia are so much better.
Dude, those fighting words.
Pissed.
Anyway, thanks for thanks for clearing that up. Y'all have a great day.
All right, man. Appreciate you.
All right, I'm going to try and do this without acting like an amateur. Oh, I messed up. He beat me. Good morning. You're on Talkback. Good morning.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Yeah, caller called in about the Colfax massacre. Well, you want to read about it? It's United States versus Cruikshank.
Okay.
Spelled Cruikshank. William Cruikshank. He was one of the ringleaders of the. Basically, it was Democrats versus Republicans. Cruikshank was the leader of the Democratic group, and they massacred the black people at the courthouse. And very interestingly, see, Cruikshank had a plantation, and after all that happened, house burned down. I don't know if he burned it or it accidental or somebody burned it for him, but anyway, my garden sits right where his house was. I did some tilling, you know, and there's pieces of like old wood stove came up, and I probably have several pounds of broken china and cups and stuff. And later on, I started getting a big sinkhole forming. I started digging around and trying to figure out what the deal was. And anyway, he had a cistern in the ground. For some reason, it collapsed. But anyway, the interesting thing about it is he was a Democrat. They massacred all these black freedmen, but yet a big percentage of the blacks here in Grant Parish are Democrats. I mean, I don't understand that. They don't know their history, apparently.
Now, I'll tell you an interesting movie
That's a
to
whole other
watch.
topic, too.
Yeah. But the Free State of Jones, starring Matthew McConaughey. Have you seen that one, Stephen? Phenomenal movie. I think it's on Amazon. It's maybe a 20-year-old movie, but it's a retelling of a true story of a man named Newt. I can't remember his last name. Morgan, who was from Mississippi, fighting in the war. His nephew gets killed. Decides that he's fed up with fighting for other people. Goes back home. And the Confederate Army had been given the right to confiscate 10% of people's goods, crops, animals, but the raiders were taking 90% to try to feed the Confederate Army. So he mounted a resistance that actually 3 different counties in Mississippi took part. This is all history. And they ended up, getting supplies from Sherman, and they were part of the, kind of behind-the-scenes resistance. And he lived for a long time, and after the Civil War, during Reconstruction, every African-American was Republican. No, there was no question. But they were hated by the whites. And so you say you wonder when it happened. It seems like it would have happened sometime after Lyndon Johnson's...
Well, that's when the political ideologies kind of flipped a little.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Some
so,
historians would say.
When 3 things started being given out, and in my mind, it crippled an entire society.
But I just don't get it. I don't understand why the blacks, so many of them are Democrats. There's a guy that's not too far from me. He's educated. He's a retired engineer. And I just asked him point blank one day. I said, "You're a Democrat?" He said, "Yeah." Well, it was kind of sheepish. But yeah. I said, "Why?" Obviously, you know the history of the Democratic Party, right? They were the party of slavery. They were the party of Jim Crow. They were part of the KKK. He said, "Well, my grandfather was Democrat. My dad was Democrat." So I said, "Well, you know what? My grandfather was a Democrat, too. Both my grandfathers. My grandfather in Baton Rouge was highly prejudiced against blacks and Italians." I said, "But you know what? They were wrong. They were dead wrong." Anyway, I just don't get it. The blacks were treated so bad by the Democrats, but then the majority of the blacks are Democrats. Go figure. Makes no sense. But anyway, the Crookshank, it's pretty interesting. It went all. The case went to the Supreme Court, United States versus Crookshank.
I've got it pulled up right here on Wikipedia. Yeah, thank you for turning us on to that.
I live on that property. After that, he sold it to his Buckner family. And Sally Buckner inherited it. She married into the Anthony family. And out of the 500 acres, they sold my great-grandfather 323 acres, and they kept the rest of the 500. But it's an interesting story.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We got to take a break. More coming up here on Talkback. We'll get to some of the legislative news coming up in Louisiana.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics. With 18 providers and 3 locations, someone can see you today.
Don't miss the Hot Tub and Swim Spa Blowout Expo this weekend only at the LaPorte Earls Coliseum. Browse over 40 hot tubs, cold therapy tubs, swim spas, and saunas from major brands at up to 50% off this weekend at the LaPorte Earls Coliseum. Visit spashow.com or call 1-800-SPA-SALE.
Coming to Alexandria, Showtime presents Proud Tina, the ultimate tribute to Tina Turner. Relive the magic of Tina Turner live on stage with simply the best tribute concert around, featuring an international band, dancers, and world-class production. It happens one night only, Sunday, March 1st at 6 o'clock p.m. at the Coughlin Saunders Performing Arts Center. Get your tickets now at louisiana-arts.org or call 318-484-4474 to celebrate Tina Turner.
My mother told me about Pro Carpet and duct cleaning when the twins were so sick with allergies and pollen, and boy, did it help, and lowered our utility bill. And we almost have no dust in our house.
You know, 50% of all illness is caused by indoor air. 9 out of 10 systems fail because of dirt and dust. Doesn't your family deserve clean air?
For a cleaner, healthier home, call 445-4818. That's 445-4818. If you'd like to take part in the show today, call the BOM Bank Talk line at 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. And remember, if you're looking to purchase or refinance your home, call Christina Bagwell at the BOM Bank Mortgage Department at 448-2430.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO. Now back to Talkback.
We'll get to some of that legislative news here in a bit here on your Thursday Talkback. But going back to like the Democrat and Republican parties and the ideologies and everything, we're not going to spend time on it. But I guess my only response is, you know, after many years, and maybe you saw some things flip in the last election, you got to give certain people a reason why to vote for you. And I think that's something maybe the right has to work on. You know, if they want to attract those voters, start making your case maybe a little bit better.
Well, tell me if you think I'm right in this assessment. It seems like the Democratic Party's proposal is a safety net at the bottom to prevent people from utter despair. So therefore you have the SNAP benefits, you have the HUD, you have those types of benefits on the bottom end. The Republican mindset seems to be, we want to provide you the tools to become successful entrepreneurs. And so they're really like pulling you up from the top versus holding you up from the bottom. Is that a possible fair
I guess
assessment?
some people could, you know, it's such more nuanced and complicated, I'm sure, than that, but maybe so, but maybe get better at marketing it, you know? No, I'm not being sarcastic. It's not me being critical of the right. It's just, you know, you got to get your messaging on board.
It feels like so many of the success stories in the black community have been from those who took advantage of opportunities rather than, when I say opportunities, they added an awful lot of self-sweat effort to it. And
I know plenty of white people on SNAP benefits.
No, absolutely.
Who vote Republican.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
I was going with the first part.
I don't know if that's just the main
That may be
reason
the
why
truth.
they would vote, just because they're getting benefits from the government.
Well, here's a great perspective. I think you made the comment off air. What is that? You know, parties change over time, and people adapt other perspectives over time. I mean, religious groups will change perspectives. You know, the Catholic Church has had several different significant changes. A new pope comes in and he issues a new bull, and now, you know, Vatican II was a dramatic overhaul of the Catholic Church. So things do change over time, and we can't say, well, just because it was this way in 1875, it's going to be this way in 2025 or 26.
And it's not unusual. This goes for religion. I mean, your dad was a Baptist preacher or whatever. You were born a Baptist. You are a Baptist.
Hold on. Don't get me kicked out of my church. He was Pentecostal.
I'm so sorry. You know what I mean. Okay, you're Christian. Let's just go with Christian.
Yeah.
That's probably why you're Christian, because all of you out there, you were raised around it, you were grown around it, and that's something you're familiar with. And a lot of people might go with parties the same way.
Yeah,
like,
I think that happens, yeah.
You know, my grandparents, I think, stayed registered Democrat, even though they voted Republican the latter years of their lives. You just do it.
So the day I turned 18, it's actually on my records, I went to wherever it was you registered, and I registered as a Republican, and my grandmother got so mad because in her mind, Democrat was the only way to be. You know, that's the only thing she knew. It's what she saw. And in Louisiana back then, I think there were close primaries back then. A lot of times, Republicans never even put up a candidate. But as an 18-year-old, I was more idealistic, and I thought I was looking at the party messaging that I saw. And, of course, Ronald Reagan was president. So I liked that guy. And I didn't like the policies that I had seen of Jimmy Carter that I'd lived through. So that was my choice. And then, you know, many years later, I went no party as a pastor. I felt like it was better to stay as a neutral site, neutral position on those things.
Yeah, and things change. There's anomalies, of course, but you kind of stick with your environment, right?
Yeah,
you're not probably going to be a Baptist if you're born in Pakistan, so let's be honest. All right, let's go back to the phone lines. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Good morning.
Morning.
Oh,
I have a thought for y'all.
Okay.
Let me see if I can pose this gently. Every human is of value. Let's just say that. And not everybody has the intestinal fortitude as everybody else.
Agreed.
So my point I'm trying to convey is, and I really enjoy the conversation, but people, callers, and these are just thoughts. They get so wrapped up in self-righteousness that, until you're beat down like a dog, you just don't have a good understanding. And everybody is of value, and not everybody has the wherewithal to do what other people do. And that's why we celebrate people who do well. We help people who are just not capable of helping themselves. That's all I got.
Well, man, I appreciate you. I'm not going to out your identity. I know. I remember when you offered yourself for public service and entered that fray, and you have been true to who you are. And when it comes to fortitude, I will say you have more of it than I do. So I appreciate you calling in and sharing your thoughts.
No, I appreciate that, but I'm very sincere about that. And I'll just say this: it's like when a young man or woman plays sports. You got all the beautiful people sitting on the bench, and they're great human beings, but they just don't have what it takes to be on the field.
Mm-hmm.
But they're still participating.
Mm.
And it just kind of goes against my crawl when people, well, they ought to do this, they ought to do that. They can't. They don't know how. And it's for us to do our best, in my opinion, to support them. You know, I don't more like all the giveaways than the man on the moon. But you know what? Some people just need it. How's that?
Mm-hmm. That's well said. I think that's the heart of humanity, to look at someone else and not walk past them, to be the Good Samaritan, right?
I agree.
Isn't that the call of Jesus? So.
Yeah, anyway, I'm going to bid you adieu. Thank you.
That was good. Thank you, sir. We appreciate it. All right, let's go to another phone call. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Good morning.
Morning.
Y'all were talking about basketball earlier.
Yes, sir.
Let me talk basketball for 1 minute.
Go ahead. You got 1 minute.
That's all you got.
Tonight at 5 o'clock, LSU girls play. If you've never watched the LSU girls play, and Kim Mulkey, you have missed a treat. There's a girl on LSU named Flojo.
Mm-hmm.
She not only plays basketball, but she's a rapper. And they got a heck of a team. But the number one team that I watch is UConn. The UConn girls.
Okay.
Right now, from last year forward, they are 45-0.
Oh my goodness.
They are 29-0 this season. And their defense is like a man's defense. They attack. If you want to get a real thrill, tonight at 5 o'clock, LSU. Tonight at 6 o'clock, UConn. And you'll really enjoy.
Well, that's great. Yeah, LSU tonight playing Tennessee. I think it'll be on ESPN. I don't know where the UConn game will be, but thanks for that tip. I love women's basketball more than men's basketball. I'll tell you why when we come back for the news.
Honestly, I have to agree with that, too.
You won't believe UConn's defense.
Have a great day. Yeah, thank you so much. Whenever I was in school, went to Fairview High School, their girls won a bunch of state championships, and we'll talk about that here in just a second.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. More people are signing up for Paramount Plus. The streaming service now has 78.9 million subscribers, although it's still playing catch-up to the likes of Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney Plus, and one it's trying to acquire, HBO Max. Results from Paramount Skydance, which also show a 5% drop in TV broadcast ad revenue last quarter, beat estimates overall, helping ease investor worry over its push to buy HBO and CNN owner Warner Brothers Discovery. Warner, which already agreed to be bought by Netflix, said Paramount's latest offer, revised this week, could ultimately be superior. Today, the CEO of Netflix is visiting the White House to discuss its bid for Warner, and it's unclear if the U.S. government will issue refunds to companies that have imported goods under President Trump's tariffs struck down last week by the Supreme Court. But if it does, one company, Cards Against Humanity, pledges to channel any refunds back to its customers, saying they have, quote, already overpaid for everything. Erica Herskowitz, Bloomberg Radio.
My ride smells just right, just right, just right, just right. Y'all gotta try that Febreze car. Just right, just right, just right. Yeah. La 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 la. Yeah. With up to 40 days of consistency, all over Febreze car clips right on your vent. You know my car's my happy place. Keep that smile on my face. Yeah, it smells just right, just right, just right. Yeah, breathe happy Febreze. La la la.
This is TV's Dr. Travis Stork for Eggland's Best Eggs. Eggs are a staple in our diets, and there's only one egg with more delicious farm-fresh taste, plus superior nutrition. Eggland's Best. With more vitamins, including 6 times more vitamin D and 10 times more vitamin E, plus 25% less saturated fat than ordinary eggs. Available in so many delicious varieties. Classic, cage-free, organic, free-range, and pasture-raised. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Attention all real estate agents, property owners, and lenders. When you or a client needs a real estate attorney, call the professionals at Thompson Law Firm. Whether the legal matter is basic or complex, the Thompson Law Firm can accurately guide you or your client to a successful outcome. That's why numerous industry professionals have trusted the Thompson Law Firm for years. They also handle estate planning, successions, and business law. Call them at 473-0052. I am a paid non-client attorney spokesperson.
Hi, this is Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungesser. We need your help to stop litter and keep Louisiana beautiful. When you see someone littering or illegally dumping, report them to the litter hotline at 855-LA-LITTER. You report, we enforce.
Again, the litter hotline is 855-LA-LITTER. When reporting, capture the license plate and make of vehicle.
Together, we can put the paradise back in Sportsman's Paradise.
Good morning. Starting out cloudy on our Thursday, gradually becoming mostly sunny. Afternoon highs near 78 degrees, and it's going to be another windy day with winds gusting as high as 20. They'll be out of the south, and we could see a late afternoon or early evening shower thunderstorm. 50% chance of some storms overnight tonight, down to 58, and then partly sunny on Friday with the high 77. From the Sedlaw Broadcasting Weather Center, I'm Dave Gratian.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO. To take part in the show, call 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. Talkback.
All right, welcome back to Talkback here on your Thursday morning, February 26th. It is 8:35, and if you want to call, go ahead, 318-442-8255. And we were talking about women's, girls basketball. You said you like it better.
I do.
Whenever I was at high school at Fairview and Allen Parish, they won like a bajillion state championships in Class B and C. Not only would they win Class B and C championships, they would consistently beat the 5A champions. So they were pretty salty. They were very good. And I've kind of noticed in girls basketball, my very ignorant opinion is you just got to be the best in shape. Because they would full court press 4 quarters.
A lot.
Nonstop. And I remember while we were sitting around playing baseball, he'd have them, the coach out there, Kyle Jinks, would have them there in the off season in weight vests in the middle of July running around the baseball field. Because he knew you just had to be in shape. You couldn't be winded in the 4th quarter and just shoot a bunch of threes. Just have a bunch of shooters.
So one of our listeners wanted to make sure that you understood there, even though you say there's a lull in sports, there's a tremendous, he said if Al were here this morning, he'd be crushed because college baseball is in full swing and Major League Baseball spring training games are going on. So Al would be heartbroken for you to say.
I said that baseball really hasn't started.
Oh, hasn't started. Okay. Yeah. But college baseball is definitely getting ready for the College World Series.
Is it really?
Yeah, I mean, it's always...
whatever. I don't know. Yeah.
But
exactly, like no one.
Yeah, but and also the same caller reminded us that LSU women are not undefeated. They're 24-4. I don't know that we said they were undefeated. I know they lost to number 2 a couple nights ago. I forget who that was, or last week. But they're actually ranked number 6 with a 24-4 record. So there's a lot of good basketball. I love women's basketball because it truly is strategic. With men's basketball, the athleticism is going to dominate. If you can dunk, if you can shoot a 3, you're going to dominate. You don't even really need a plan. But on the women's basketball, you actually see them run plays. You see them develop. You see the screens working. You see the pick and rolls developing. You see the movement on the court. And there's a lot of strategy. And like you said, that full court press, you get tired. And there's a whole lot to the strategy of trading them in and out and keeping fresh legs on the court. And you need a full team. For women's basketball, you need a good roster of at least 10 people that could be starters.
Yeah. I don't know. I just don't keep up with anything except for kind of the NFL now, so it's hard for me to know anything. And I will speak ignorantly on sports otherwise. I'm just being completely honest.
Well, come out Saturday to LaBorda Earls Coliseum for the Red River Athletic Conference games, and you'll get some great basketball.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to that, and I hope it has a good crowd out there. All right, I don't know if any of you were hoping that John Bel Edwards, Bobby Jindal would become governor again. Maybe some of you would, I don't know. There's a New Orleans area lawmaker. He's offering a proposed constitutional amendment for the upcoming legislative session that starts March 9th that would place a lifetime limit of 2 terms on a person who has served as governor. This is news to me. I didn't know that you could do non-consecutive multiple terms over 2. Republican Michael Boeheim's legislation would mean that Jindal Edwards could not serve again. He says it's not targeting either of the 2 or Landry, but he says it's if you served your 2 terms, you've done your 2 terms, and you've done what you can. And the last one I think that served more than 2 was Edwin Edwards, of course.
Right.
In the 1970s and later on. So, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea you could come back and run again.
Well, I assumed that being the case with Edwin Edwards. I didn't know if that had changed with the Constitution because his first 2 terms were prior to the new Louisiana Constitution, and the second 2 terms were after the new. So I didn't know if that applied or not. But that's a really good comment about that on the Hayride. They have a really good breakdown on that discussion of what the proposed ideas of the legislation are. It's interesting, though. What do you think about a legislator who can have 3 terms, limiting a governor to 2 terms?
That's very interesting. I don't know. I would say that maybe the executive has more power, of course. They do.
Good point.
So,
but how often do we see someone, they serve 12 years, 3 terms in one house, and then they flip and run in the other house and get 12 more terms? Seen that a few times.
It happens.
Whether Senate to House or House to Senate. So.
And we were talking about that, like you get nervous before speaking and doing all these different things. Like, I just feel like if you run for office like you, nonstop, like it's just exhausting.
Yeah.
It's just like I would be emotionally drained. Yeah, but I think you're a bit of a masochist, Nathan. I'm glad you're getting out. So
I feel the load lifting every single day. Do you see my smile getting bigger the longer?
Yeah, I know. And sometimes I think of, because I cover all the events that most of y'all go to and everything, and I'm like, man, having to prepare a speech nonstop, time after time. And I'd be the type that would never prepare, and I just go up there and just say a bunch of stuff and get in trouble like I do here. Yeah, it's got to be a little exhausting.
Got to put on the face.
Yeah, exactly. Coming up, more from the legislature. Big bill, not the big beautiful bill, big bill that could impact school threats, something we saw a lot of in Rapides Parish this school year. We'll discuss that here coming up after the break.
KSYL. Are you listening to this from your Ram truck? If so, you may be eligible for Recall 67A. Complete the 1-hour software recall and get $500, plus a free extended warranty worth thousands. Visit CumminsRecall.com to learn more.
Some smiles sound like this, while others sound this way. If you'd like to improve the way your smile sounds, the folks over at Today's Dental in Pineville can deliver. Over the years, hundreds of Central Louisiana patients have visited Today's Dental and then left completely satisfied. Their dental implant procedure is amazingly simple, low anxiety, and completely affordable. Today's technology makes your beautiful smile easier than ever. The staff at Today's Dental go out of their way to make you comfortable with calming in-office IV sedation that's administered by a highly skilled certified nurse anesthetist. And their multiple finance options make the entire procedure truly affordable. Want your smile to sound better? Give Today's Dental a call at 318-448-4540. It's a general dental facility on Highway 28 East in Pineville, owned by Dr. Jonas Goche. That's 318-448-4540.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney.
This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-909-9696. 800-909-9696.
It's Talkback, 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO.
Hi, welcome back to Talkback here on KSYL on your Thursday morning, February 26th. It is 8:43. So get your Pop-Tarts popped and get out the door. Thanks for listening to us. We've been talking about the state legislature. Another bill, State Representative Mike Johnson from Pineville is introducing it. Would make penalties for school threats more harsh, like we saw a couple of months ago in September and August. Ash, Tioga, Peabody, I'm probably missing some here, but they all had similar social media threats, created chaos, shut down the schools, a bunch of nervous parents. Of course, the suspects were arrested, juveniles. They are going through the system now, I'm sure. Also, LSUA had we believe, a threat come in from a different state. But the penalties that they're looking at doing is charging juveniles to the fullest extent of the law, so throwing the book at them. Also, parents could be involved as well. If for some reason they could have stopped it or they knew that their child was prone to it, that could be a gray area as well, something I'm sure we'll dive into more. They could be financially responsible, paying for the responders who responded to that incident, because that takes time and money, and that could be a very hefty bill.
Well, and that will catch the attention of a lot of people if they begin to realize that they would have a fiduciary responsibility for actions of someone else under their care. Hopefully that would cause them to be more forward thinking. I will tell you, I spoke with the judge that handled that juvenile case, and of course he did not reveal any identities of any of the youth involved, but he told me I would be surprised at who some of them were, that some of these were very successful students that just, he feels like got caught up in a prank and kind of got wrapped up. There really truly wasn't malicious intent, and it kind of caught him off guard, because I think there were 6, if I'm not mistaken, 6 juveniles separately, something like that, 5 or 6.
5 or 6.
And I didn't know this at the time, but we had hosted a prayer gathering at Rapides Parish School Board offices at the invitation of a state office holder asked me to organize that, and we had a great turnout of people there. And I had this impression to pray for the youth themselves, and I had invited the judge, and he had told me he was coming. I saw him later that day, and he actually messaged me. He apologized. He said, hey, I'd planned to come, but I actually had those youth in front of me while y'all were praying. And then we chatted some more when I saw him in person. But, at the same time, the disruption was huge, and hopefully a message will be sent. You have to be really careful with juveniles. You can't divulge identities, but certainly parental involvement is the key to a lot of this.
And I know that, we talk about parenting versus government control, this, that, and the other, but I think it needs to be a serious conversation in the United States. At what age do we allow people to have social media accounts?
Well, and the young lady that is suing Meta right now, Kayla, I think is her name, she's 20 years old. She says she became addicted to Facebook when she was 6 years old. Now, Stephen, would you let your daughter on Facebook at 6 years old? I know
not
the answer
now,
to that.
But whenever this was a burgeoning platform, you could possibly see where parents are like, well, we don't know much about it. It's like Meemaw and ants on there and stuff, and then it becomes more and more, and it became more and more. But absolutely not. We're going to get my daughter a jitterbug, and she can only call mom and dad.
I love those. Those are great.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Because, we let our kids watch certain shows, Blue's Clues and things like that. I'll tell you a funny one. My wife would not let our children watch Rugrats, and it was the huge show.
I couldn't either.
Yeah.
When I was a kid.
In her perspective, my wife is a better parent than I am. I'll just tell you up front. But her perspective was Angelica and the perniciousness, the disrespect shown to parents, the constant arguing, complaining. She said, these are not role models I want my kids seeing as acceptable behavior.
I hear you. There was controversy about Peppa Pig, too.
Really?
Being disrespectful to parents and stuff.
Hmm.
And my wife was like, doesn't know anything about Peppa Pig, and she's like, there's a Peppa Pig playground place we can go on vacation for. Sophia's like, no, we're not doing Peppa Pig.
Check you out, dude.
Sarcastic at me. I don't know anything about Peppa Pig. If it's a great show, I'm so sorry. I
don't know either. I'm a little bit beyond that in my parenting journey.
We like Miss Rachel because it's mostly like, here's your numbers, here's your colors, and here's how to speak. That's about it.
Well, Sesame Street in the early days was really good, but it kind of got political there the last decade, Sesame Street.
Has it?
Yeah, they're bringing in some some stuff that some parents would find objectionable.
We don't really allow too much screen time anyway, except when she's sick right now. It's just she's stuck inside and so bored.
Sure.
We're like, okay,
well,
you're 3.
Both of my daughters who have young children, my third daughter has an older daughter, but the two that have young children, huge reading advocates. I've already told you about how they subscribe to the Aunt Dolly reading. They get their books every month. Their bookshelves are full. And I'm aware of the story out, but they went to see a movie of a book they had read, and my 8-year-old granddaughter, she just turned 8, said the book was so much better, and I loved it.
Books are so much better. The best thing in the world. I'm telling you that. Speaking of kids and controversial stuff, and this is kind of weird, and I guess we'll just say it on the air. Have you ever heard of Frida Baby, the brand?
No, I haven't.
So if you're a parent right now, you probably know what Frida Baby is. They make like stuff for infants and children, toys, medical stuff like snot suckers and all that kind of thing.
Okay.
Thermometers. Well, there's a big controversy on TikTok, where a lot of parents are now, for some of their messaging and branding on their products. So for their forehead touchless thermometer, on the side it says, how about a quickie?
Oh, okay.
On another, I'm sorry, everyone, a rectal thermometer, it says this is the closest your husband's going to get to a threesome.
Oh, that's not good.
This is a baby product.
That's not good.
And then for a humidifier, it includes the phrase, I get turned on easily.
No.
Like, what are we doing? Another one for an aspirator, nasal aspirator, is, I'm a power sucker. Like, that's legitimately unbelievable.
That's disturbing. I get it that the kids won't see this stuff. These are infants, so they're trying to market to a young, bourgeois, 20-something group.
I don't think people like us like that. Like, that's sexualizing our kids' products.
Right, absolutely.
So if you buy Frida Baby, maybe think about that next time. So sorry to bring that up to you this morning. We got more coming up here on Talkback.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics.
The world once needed lots of paper made right here in central Louisiana. Now we're making a comeback with clean methanol. Beaver Lake Renewable Energy will turn Louisiana wood into fuel, creating hundreds of direct and indirect jobs and giving loggers a steady market again. It's not just a plant, it's a promise to our land, our people, and our future. Visit beaverlakerenewable.com and find out how we're putting central Louisiana back on the map.
Need office supplies, janitorial supplies, or office furniture, either new or pre-owned? Then look no further than DTW Office Supply, with wholesale prices on a large selection of top quality products, all with the personalized hometown service that you deserve. We're proud to serve the entire state of Louisiana with daily deliveries right to your door. Visit us today at 1219 MacArthur Drive or online at dtwofficesupply.com. That's DTW Office Supply, your trusted partner for all of your office needs. Quality, value, service.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYO. Now back to Talkback.
And we were talking about the Frida Baby stuff, and you're reading some of them. They're just awful.
Disgusting. It really is.
We will not be buying another one. Let's go to the phone lines here on Talkback. Good morning. You're on.
Hello?
Hey, how are you?
Hey, I want to say a good shout-out to you there, old boy. You're doing a good job. You moved up in the world.
Oh, thank you.
And I appreciate the way you handled yourself today.
Oh, well, thank you.
You've been on the ball.
Well, thanks, man.
And Mr. Nathan, too.
Thank you very much.
I wanted to say that to you. Have a nice day.
I appreciate that. Wouldn't you agree with me that the show is better with Stephen running the board?
It is. That's what I'm called in for. Hey, he moved up the world, man. Hey, he was sitting over there like in slow mode, but now he's on top of things.
And doing a great job. I'm loving it, Stephen.
I'm going to be lazy.
Hey,
maybe.
Look, I love y'all both. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
I'm going to be lazy tomorrow and let Al run the thing.
Well, I don't think you have a choice.
I might let you run it Tuesday. You'll switch around. Some days you walk in and you just don't want to think. And sometimes I sit in your spot. I'm sure you're doing it now. You're just reading something else. And you're just passively listening.
You caught me.
But you're better than me at that. Like, I just really don't listen sometimes. That's what my wife tells me. Do you want to talk about AI? I've went the whole show without AI.
I have an AI story for you.
Okay, go.
No, well, I attended a meeting Tuesday night at the library. I saw it advertised somewhere. The Kavanaugh Foundation was putting, or the Kavanaugh, LSUA Kavanaugh Lecture Series was brought in a guy named Kyber Khan, and the tagline was, he will examine with a critical eye the promise of AI in a presentation entitled The AI Deception, Seeing Through the Illusion of Intelligence. And if you had listened to him, you would not have thought of AI the way I thought of AI before.
Sure.
He's born in Pakistan, migrated to America, joined the U.S. military, served many years until he was injured, had to take a medical discharge, and went on and got his PhD and all this other stuff. Bright
He
guy.
has the coolest name I've ever heard, honestly. Kyber Khan. That's awesome.
KhYber, yeah.
Love it.
So, but essentially, if I can boil down his presentation, is that artificial generative intelligence is an illusion. There's no such thing. Artificial intelligence cannot generate anything new. It can only repackage what's been given to it.
Yet.
And he doesn't think that it ever will.
Interesting.
He says that we've reached the level of silicon chip manufacturing where we're at the atomic level, and you cannot go smaller than that in production. Now, he said, could there be some other development down the road that we don't know about? That's possible. But with the technology that we know of today and the advancement of it, he believes that it will become the appearance of intelligence. But he gave a couple of illustrations. He said, ask any AI, and he had all of us do it in the room, give me an image of a man writing with his left hand. And every one of us who did it, the outcome was a man writing with his right hand. He said the reason is they use Shutterstock and all these images. Everybody's always right-handed in the stuff that's been presented to it. Then he said, ask it to give you a time other than 10 minutes till 2 or 10 minutes after 2. Because all of the images AI have been trained on are the images that photographers like, where the hands are in that 10 to 2, where they're that right angle. Mine did show like 220 or something like that, or 120, but it was the exact same angle. And he said, and that was his whole point, was no matter how smart it appears to be, it's only regurgitating the information it has. And they did talk about how it's not going to be a good use case for counselors and boyfriends, and because it's just going to, it's going to follow your cues and give you what you want.
Yeah. It does that now. And it's a language model, right? It's going off language that already exists. And you hear that argument all the time. But a lot of other people would say is we're in baby intelligence.
Yeah.
We haven't even hit AGI yet.
No.
And then ASI would be the goal, which what they would call the singularity, and they could extrapolate information and create its own hypothesis, right? But yeah, that's a big question. We'll see what happens.
Like the prompts you told me, somebody wrote a 2.5-minute long amazing video. I think you sent it to me, based on a prompt. And he said, but again, it's all based on the prompt. You gave it a prompt. It has access to millions of pieces of information, which it can simultaneously process. We can't do that, but it's still regurgitating information it's been given.
And that would still be very disruptive to a lot of our professions.
No doubt.
Because in the scarcity of knowledge, like we pay a lawyer or a doctor, because they have knowledge we don't have that took years of training, that computer would have it at its disposal immediately, and it could be disruptive to a lot of those things.
Yeah.
And movie making,
I think the point he really wanted to make was to stop people from being scared of it. His point was it's a tool, and smart people use tools intelligently. Bad people use tools for harm. So a knife can be used to cut your steak, or can be used to kill your partner across the table, right? So it's a tool, and if you view it as a tool, train yourself to use that tool to the best of your ability. It'll improve your life, but don't be afraid of it. Skynet taking over the world.
And I don't think I really think that way either, but I think it would be disruptive to the way that we live life. Not saying it won't be better or worse, it just will be disruptive to the way we've lived life for our whole existence.
I almost asked him if he was an apocalyptimist, but I didn't get a chance to ask that question.
I wish I could have gone. That would have been very interesting.
It was it was scheduled for 1 hour. We went 2 because everybody had so many questions.
How many meetings do you go to yesterday? Good Lord.
That was Tuesday, so yeah.
You go to more than me, I think. Yeah, and it's an interesting topic, and it's going to be fun to live in a time where we get to see that. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
You know these data centers that are being built everywhere?
Yes, sir.
Well, I just wonder sometimes how long are they going to be viable with technology changing the way it is?
That's
you know,
a
I
great
read that everything I've ever seen, read ever, all the information I've ever accumulated is still in my brain somewhere. I just can't call it up.
Mm-hmm.
And so you got these big old warehouses with just to store data. And so how long is it going to be before they're not needed no more? But 10 years?
I think you're probably right. I think 100,000 square foot warehouse housing 2 million transistor computers 10 years from now will use less than half the space because the computers will be so much more efficient.
And there's something else, too. You know this drug lord?
Go ahead.
Right. You know this drug lord that got attacked down there in Mexico?
El Mencho, absolutely.
I just wonder if he had something to do with Nancy Guthrie's disappearance, because I just don't believe in coincidence. I think the government knows more than they're telling us, and that he might have had something to do with that.
There is a lot of speculation that the Jalisco cartel was involved in her disappearance. You are right about. I'm hearing scuttlebutt, nothing confirmable, but great observation.
Well, hey, we got to go. Thank you so much. Call back again tomorrow. Thank you all for joining us here this morning on Talkback.
Maybe y'all can talk about taxes going down tomorrow.
What?
Maybe y'all can talk about taxes going down tomorrow.
That'll be a good one. We would love that. Nathan, thanks so much.
My pleasure.
All right, see y'all tomorrow. Or hear you tomorrow.
You've been listening to Talkback. The opinions expressed were those of the hosts and callers, and not necessarily those of Cenlaw Broadcasting.
AM 970, FM 104.